We're going to talk about the screw pattern. So on drywall, for those who are maybe a little bit new about how to attach drywall and what the pattern of screws should be, different states have different requirements, but as a norm, the screw pattern for drywall in the vertical direction is every foot. What's very important is that 2 to 3 inches from the edge, you need to put a screw at both the bottom and the top, and then every foot in between the bottom and the top of that sheet of drywall. The reason for that need, or that necessity of 1 foot, is that if you spread 4 screws out and you're wider than that 1 foot, you don't meet the minimum requirements of the manufacturer to attach that drywall to your framing. So every foot vertically, and then on the bottom, in addition to a screw that sits very low in your framing, and this is a little bit high, I would want to go down to the very bottom here. And you notice I'm not using an actual drywall screw gun because a lot of folks don't have that, especially if you're new to doing drywall. So what I'm using is an impact, and most of us who are doing even DIY projects have an impact. But what's very important is as I put the screw in, I don't bury the screw to the point where it breaks the paper on the drywall. That's another point that the manufacturer states, is that once you've broken through the paper on the outside and you can see the gypsum around the screw, you've lost the integrity of that connection point. So we'll go over in a second how we can fix that. But what's important here is that you see I brought screws all the way down to with this one is probably 1 inch, so is that one. And then I'm also placing one on this sill plate in the middle, because your connection points on the bottom sill plate or on your top sill plate need to be 6 inches apart. So if you look at the perimeter of the drywall on the bottom down here, it's not just 1 foot, it's every 6 inches. Up at the top plate, we'll do the same thing. We'll do every 6 inches. Why, you ask, aren't we doing that here? Well, if we look at the framing on the other side, the framing is 16 inches apart. There's no way that we can put a screw in here. So we gain strength by sticking to that one at a minimum of 1 foot. You can see here I'm 8 inches here. So I've got actually an extra screw in this line. So it's better to have an extra one than one less. We just talked about putting a screw too far into the drywall. So if you notice here, this screw is buried so far, you can actually see some of the gypsum coming out. The easy fix is just come down below it or above it and put in another screw and make sure that you don't pierce the paper again, and that solves the problem. What happens here is that over time, with just expansion and contraction of that lumber behind the drywall, you'll have what's called a screw pop or a nail pop, where the drywall is popped away from the screw. Now you won't see the head. That's when I say a nail pop. Depending on your definition, that could be a nail that's not driven in far enough and you can actually see the nail head come out underneath your gypsum. But you can also have your hole pop out from the connection point if it's been driven in too far past the paper. So just something to keep in mind when you're putting your connections in. Got to be 1 foot apart, 6 inches on the bottom and on the top plate. It's hard because this thing moves. Your wall doesn't normally walk away from you. That one was good. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you would like to check out our products, click on the link below in the description for easy protection. And to check out our other videos, please click on the link up here.